Prince Charles, as we've been hearing this morning here, has paid tribute to his late father, and it's certainly an emotional time for the family, but everyone's attention is turning to Prince Harry and Meghan Markle. Is this a time for the family to heal, do you think?
Well, I think when you have incidents like funerals, weddings, it's a time that family do tend to get together and maybe heal the rifts, maybe look at the fact that life is finite and look at what's important. I think it's probably wise that Harry's coming to the funeral on his own. Because after that interview, I think there's a real need for some bridges to be rebuilt because a lot of people were deeply offended by not only what was said, but also by the timing of that interview. You know, this took place when his grandfather was ill in hospital, was on his final stages of the illness that would take his life, and they chose to go on global television and air the dirty laundry. I would be 100% guaranteed that Prince Philip would have been appalled by what happened. And I think Harry needs to understand that and hopefully use this opportunity to reconnect with his family.
Prince Harry is flying from overseas to the UK. What will happen in terms of quarantining?
So the official rules are that you have to take a test before you fly, I think. Then it's 10 days quarantine, but the rules allow that for something like a funeral, you can leave your quarantine period. So he will be able to go to the service. Obviously, this was going to be a service with about 800 people from military, from all the charities, from all the organisations that Prince Philip was involved in over his long and dedicated life. Now it's down to 30 people. It really has to be his nearest and dearest. So I think it's important that Harry is one of them, because I think that Prince Philip played an incredibly important role in his life. They both served in the military, of course, but when Diana died, he really protected his grandsons.
Prince Philip was married to the Queen for 73 years, and on their 50th anniversary, he gave a speech, part of it being tolerance is one essential ingredient of any happy marriage. Many people describe the Duke of Edinburgh as stoic, no fuss, a witty sense of humour. He did so much for his country and his family and, in fact, the world. How do you think Prince Philip will be wanting to be remembered?
I think Prince Philip will want to be remembered as a man who loved this country, who loved his family, who I think his success as a consort is measured by the success of the Queen's reign. I don't think he'll want to be remembered in terms of this actual issue with Harry and Meghan, but of course it was inevitable that the conversation will turn to this. But when you look at the tributes that are being paid, people have been told, don't actually come and leave flowers, leave messages online on the websites and things like that, but people are still going to leave flowers. I think people still will go to Windsor next Saturday when the funeral is, because they will want to pay their respects. They'll want to show the Queen and the rest of the family that they really feel for them in their grief, and that he did touch a lot of people in his lives. I've seen so many. I'm friends with lots of people from the military, from veterans. The stories that I've seen about their involvement with Philip and when they met him, they're absolutely hilarious. Some of them are not for broadcast, but I think this is a man who will be remembered very, very fondly.
He certainly had an extraordinary life. He had a challenging upbringing, and he gave up a lot in terms of his own career once he married the Queen. And then he certainly had so many organisations that he was involved with, around 800 charities, and retiring at the age of 96, but he still certainly had so much involvement with the charities like the British Heart Foundation and also WWF, and of course what he founded, the Duke of Edinburgh Award.
Yeah, exactly. I did my Duke of Edinburgh's Award. I did my bronze and my silver. I know lots of people in Australia would have done it too. I think his message towards people of it's not just about education, it's not just about academic work, it's about, actually what you can do for a community, the great outdoors, being fit and healthy. I think all those messages from way before it was trendy, I think he was ahead of his time in that.
Yeah, he certainly was, and he kept fit. He loved the outdoors. He loved horses. He had like a 12-minute regime, like a fitness regime, which I'm going to look up and try and get into because 12 minutes a day sounds pretty good.
Yeah, well, I'm wondering if it was a sort of a high intensity impact training or something like that. But I mean, this is a guy that was doing carriage racing, was always out and about, was still driving into his 90s, was still accompanying the Queen, sitting out in the cold during the Jubilee. He really was a fit and healthy guy. I don't think you can live to almost 100 without, having a really good attitude towards healthy living and a strong constitution. I think that was probably something that he learnt at school in Scotland. But yeah, what a life, being born in Corfu, being smuggled out in an orange box, the plane, losing his sister like that. Then the family finds happiness in Malta. He's loving his Navy career. All of a sudden, he has to take a back seat. He is now the consort and his wife at a time when, the man was the head of the family. He now has to support her in her role.